Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another broadcast. Today I want to talk about Charles Soule's Daredevil tale, Running with the Devil, or more specifically, that Marvel book that is criminally underperforming. I read this book and wanted to do an old school Ric Flair. Woo! Here's Daredevil issues number 19 and 20 in a nutshell. 1. Matt Murdock is in a confessional booth with Father Jordan and he discloses why the world forgot that he is, indeed, Daredevil. 2. Some of the purple children show up at Matt's door and they need help. Kilgrave is trying to capture all of his kids to increase the amplitude of his mind control powers. Daredevil is ultimately taken under the control of Kilgrave. The villain wants his victim to state the one act that would be a betrayal of the deepest part of his soul, so he can order him to do it. 3. Kilgrave patiently waits as the hero outwardly tries to come up with that one thing while the rest of him is in a dream-like state, confused, in a bar where he can actually see. He's surrounded by different versions of himself over the years while talking to a purple bartender. In the background, and I loved this, the television screens scroll warnings to Matt that he is under Kilgrave's control. 4. Daredevil says his biggest fear would be the world in chaos. Absolute chaos, as he does nothing. Kilgrave makes the chaos happen with a machine that broadcasts his orders, but then freaks out when Daredevil discloses the part about him personally standing by while society burns. The hero eventually has an amazing grace moment, breaks free, and takes out the villain. While he runs off to see if he hurt his girlfriend while under Kilgrave's control, the kids make everyone forget A, the chaos inflicted by their father, and B, Daredevil's identity as a favor to the man. 5. Daredevil ends his relationship with Kirsten to protect her from, fittingly, guys like Kilgrave, who escaped prison shortly after their ordeal and has been messing with Daredevil since writer Charles Soule first came on board. Father Jordan tells Matt he essentially isn't giving a proper confession because he saved the world, and if he really feels guilty about what happened, then he needs to come up with something heroic to do as a form of penance. That's revealed in DD number 21, which is on store shelves now. Okay, if you're a regular subscriber, then you heard my review for the last issue of Amazing Spider-Man. Everything that Dan Slott does wrong with that book, Mr. Soule does right. And then some. This book is scary good on every single level, and whenever Ron Garney is supplying the art, I think maybe, just maybe, there is hope for Marvel just yet. Here are things Soule does that give the book rock star status. 1. Character development. From day one on this book, it was obvious that Soule gets who Matt Murdock is and what makes him tick. This is displayed in the dream sequence exquisitely when we see all the different Daredevils throughout the decades making themselves known, fighting with one another, giving little quips to push Matt one way or the other, but then eventually coming together into one cohesive whole that is undoubtedly Daredevil. This is a random side note, but I almost can't help but wonder if Charles Soule is a lucid dreamer. Issue number 19, with Matt seemingly understanding that something wasn't quite right, reads like someone who has familiarity with lucid dreams. And yes, I am one. Maybe he's not, and he's just a guy who really understands how important it is to dig deep into a character's core and then find a way to articulate that to the readers in a story like this. Bravo. 2. Consistency. Characters in DD, again, going back to the beginning, have clearly defined personalities, and those personalities do not shift from issue to issue. If Murdock feels one way about a character in issue number 15, then you could bet good money that he will feel the same way in issue number 25, unless something logical has happened to shift his position. 3. Pacing. Each story almost has a musical beat to it, and it doesn't abruptly speed up or slow down due to poor planning. Nothing seems rushed. It's a well thought out tale where you can tell the writer mapped out everything he wanted to do beforehand, or if he just had the skeleton of a story, he meticulously kept building layer after layer until he had a beautifully sculpted body. 4. Natural human relationships and reactions. Anyone who has been in a serious relationship that just wasn't working for some reason and you had to break it off, or maybe you ended it but you weren't sure that was the right thing to do, and maybe you beat yourself up over it, then you should read this book. Matt's reaction, Kirsten's reaction, the priest's reaction, everything screams Charles Soule is a man who has thought a lot about human nature, and he's a man who has probably applied that same probing intellect to his personal life. I can go on and on about this book. If I had to pick one thing to grumble about, it would be that the Marvel Universe is the only place where a man could go into a confessional booth after years away and have a priest essentially say, you're good for now, come back another time. But the writing in these two issues was so stunningly awesome that Charles Soule even gets a pass on this one. That's about it for now, but I'd like to hear what you have to say. Sound off on Running with the Devil, Charles Soule, painful breakups, Matt Murdock post-Kilgrave style, lucid dreaming, or anything else in the comments section below. And as always, if you've liked what you've heard here, then head on over to douglasernst.blog for more coverage just like this. See you next time. Woo!